and this was the size. Okay? I call my story Defying the Odds. So November 18th, I was diagnosed. That was the day I called my mom. I says, Mom, I have a brain tumor. Hung the phone up, and I forgot to wish her happy birthday. I was a rotten daughter that day, but oh well. Okay, so they told me, you're gonna go get an MRI done. I'm taking you to Walter Reed. Has anybody heard of Walter Reed Army Medical Center? Is it a very important hospital? How important?
Very important.
That's where a lot of our troops from Iraq and Afghanistan come stateside to get taken care of. Well, I went in to be seen, and I still had the attitude, you know what, nothing's wrong. Well, they says, ma'am, we don't know what we're up against yet, but we're gonna see what we've got. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, anybody have any questions, please raise your hand. I'll be glad to try and answer any, okay? So, first of all, they did tons of testing. They checked my reflexes, asked me questions, and they says, are you nauseated? No. Do you have headaches? Yes. I've always had headaches as long as I can remember. So I thought, okay. Well, they says, we got two things for you, two options. I says, okay, lay it out to me. They says, well, with the size of the mass we're working with, we don't know what exactly is going to happen. So here's scenario one. You know what? You have 6 months to live. Go live your life, and that's it. Okay, what would you do? You had 6 months to live. You'd what?
I was like, go skydiving and then meet Beyonce.
Go skydiving with Beyonce, okay? Well, you take a lot of conditioning to climb Mount Everest. Or my second option was to contemplate surgery. But the doctors told me, you have 1 week to come back and tell us what you want to do. Okay? So, I'm looking at this thing right here. What would you guys do? Give me an honest opinion. What would you do? Yes?
I think surgery.
You would try surgery?
I would, yeah.
How soon would they do surgery that week?
Okay, surgery doesn't happen the next day.
Right.
It took about 3 weeks to prep everything. Okay? First of all,
And they didn't know if you would live if you went through the surgery. That was the main thing, right?
yep, they told me that if I decide to take surgery, here's the kicker. 1, I had to have my funeral planned. Okay? I was 40 years old. Okay? Can you sit and plan a funeral?
They told you that? Like,
Yes.
you have to have your
I had to have my papers in order. So when I died, they would know what to do with me. Where they were going to ship my body to, what they were going to do with me. Okay? So there's one thing I had to consider if I was going to do surgery. So I did it. I planned my funeral, I did my obituary papers, the whole 9 yards. Came back to the doctors the following week. I says, I'm doing surgery. They says, okay. Well, we've got surgery slated for December 17th. I had 3 weeks to contemplate what was going to happen to me. That was a lot, okay? I had Christmas on my plate to deal with. I had this impending surgery, and I had work. So, right here is a top view of the tumor, looking down, okay? Gives you an idea, it was on my right side of my brain, okay? How big do you think this tumor looks to you? Yes?
softball.
Good guess. Anybody else? Grapefruit? Pat, add 3 pounds to it. Okay? Put that in your head. How would you feel? Be weird, huh? Yes.
So what did the tumor affect? Like, any like skills?
What the tumor was affecting was my memory, because it was pressing on my brain. My cerebral fluid was not flowing, so I couldn't comprehend very much. and my vision was being affected.
Can you still talk?
I would talk, everything would be fine. I just had an attitude. What's that?
She said, well, dang, then I have tumors.
Dang, you don't want one. Okay, so they presented option 2, which was gonna have the surgery, so it was gonna be a 2-part procedure. Okay, so on December 17th, I went to Bethesda Naval Hospital. That's where all the presidents, vice presidents go for surgery. Okay, Walter Reed was putting together the best neuro team, surgeon team they've ever had. So they were doing their part and I had to do my part. Part 1 was the embolization, was the angiogram. An angiogram is a little teeny tiny wire they put in your femoral artery, goes up through your body, and they were going to my brain. The doctor wanted to put 5 clips around my tumor to stop excessive blood loss when they had me open. Well, after 7 hours of trying to get clips on, they got 2. It was not a very good, successful morning for me, but it's okay. They closed me up, and they told me, after they brought me up and was out, they said, we only got 2 on, we're not very happy, but we just gotta go with what we go. I says, okay. So that night, they put me in an ambulance. Walter Reed and Bethesda is only like 5 miles apart from each other. Put me in an ambulance, drove me to Walter Reed. Well, that next morning at Walter Reed, I was up like at 5 in the morning, got prepped for surgery, and it happened to be a day where President Bush was attending because he was getting his knees on scoped. Well, Miss Attitude, okay, all these Secret Service people were roaming the hallways, blocking areas that were slowing progress down, and I told Secret Service to take a hike. So I can actually say I did tell them to take a hike. But it was okay. So now I get into surgery to OR, and they had a chair designed for me because I could not be laid flat on a table. They had to have me laying face down, okay? Because they cracked my skull open from here to here, to then pulled my face down to expose my skull. Okay. Everybody okay so far? Okay. They got me under anesthesia, and we're 3 hours into the surgery. Well, they get to this tumor that's sitting right here, and it was massive. Well, the surgeons did not know what to do, because in your brain, your blood flows one way, okay? Well, the blood was flowing the opposite direction. So they were befuddled on what to do. So they called 3 major medical centers in the US to try to talk to top neurosurgeons to get ideas. They talked to UCLA, the Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins. And all 3 of them said, I don't know, we've never run into this problem. Try whatever you can do. So at any given time, that tumor was holding a cup of blood. That's 8 ounces of blood in my body being used up. Well, they got to the tumor, then all of a sudden, I